Welcome to beautiful Berea, Ohio. We start up training camp daily here on Sports Time Ohio. This is the second year of the show. I'm Andre Knott with Plain Dealers Tony Grossi, as well as the radio color analyst Doug Deacon. How are you guys as we open up training camp for another year?
Raring to go. Let's get it on.
Absolutely.
Never have looked forward to training camp and still don't.
Well, I know why you don't, Doug. Well, the big story of the week, and as we started up training camp, is the signing of the first pick for the Browns in Joe Thomas, the offensive lineman, getting him in here and signed. How big is that for this team?
Oh, it's very big because you anticipate that he's going to be your left tackle for the next 14, 15 years. And I think the thing is, coming from a school like Wisconsin where you run the ball quite a bit, you don't get the chance to have to pass on 3rd and 10, and you go against some of these great defensive ends that he's going to face. And I think getting a chance to go against Cameron Wimbley in training camp is going to be a good experience for him.
Oh, definitely. Tony, when we look at Eric Wright coming in here, the kid from UNLV, I know he had some problems off the field, but this Browns organization thinks pretty highly of him.
Well, he was clearly the most impressive rookie in minicamp and OTAs. Now that's with an asterisk. It's not live action. It's not hitting. But he impressed me, and I know he impressed the coaches and the organization. I think he has a chance to rapidly take over that other starting quarterback position in preseason.
Eric Wright is not here today, Doug. What does that do for him?
Well, he's not here because he just missed an airplane connection, but before the practice is over, he will be in the building. So Eric Wright will be out there tomorrow.
Was there just a transportation problem or
Yeah, sometimes they kind of forget that when they're on the West Coast and they have to come back east, that it takes a little bit more time. And so there were some transportation problems, and he's supposed to be in here tonight.
Well, it was really important, especially being an offensive lineman. I think we have the most to learn out of any position, and we need the most camp out of anybody to get ready for the season. And so it was vitally important for me to be in here today.
Joe, were you starting to feel any pressure as it got closer to today to get the deal done?
I think both sides felt a little bit of pressure, but my agent Peter Schaefer and Trip McCracken from the Browns both have worked really hard for the last 6-7 weeks since the draft to get this done by today. And we're lucky enough to get the deal done.
One guy missing is Brady Quinn. Tony, what is the ramifications of not having Brady in here on the first day?
I think it automatically eliminates Brady Quinn as any hope of winning the job here. I actually think that was the theme of minicamp was that in the offseason that Quinn was evaluated as to being not ready to begin the year, and I think this absolutely eliminates him from starting. That doesn't mean at some point he couldn't catch up, but I think that this finalizes it.
Now, coming out of college, out of Notre Dame, Brady Quinn was looked at as a guy that was above and beyond the most, NFL-ready quarterback. How much do you miss in the first couple of days of a training camp like this?
Well, you miss, the reps with your receivers, but when you got 4 quarterbacks there, then all of a sudden you don't get the amount of reps. I think, with Brady Quinn, they learned from the Tim Couch situation. They realized that when they got Tim Couch there the first year and they threw him in that rookie year and he turned into be roadkill, they said, we're not going to do that with another quarterback. And I think what they'd like to do is look at him as our next year's #1 draft pick. So, when we get the next year, he'll be ready to play.
Now, in these negotiations, is it getting turned, Tony, into Brady Quinn is one of the top-ranked players in April, but come now, he's still the 22nd pick. Is that the fight that's going on between these two sides?
I think that's it, and it's dollars, and I think there are rare occasions, very rare occasions, when a holdout actually benefits the team, and I think this is one of them because I don't think that they wanted a tangled situation at quarterback. This untangles it a little bit more. There's 2 quarterbacks now competing for the starting job instead of 3.
Well, there are 2 quarterbacks battling for that job, and one of the guys that just make that decision as to who should be the starting quarterback is going to be Coach Romeo Crennel. Are you disappointed Quinn's not here?
Well, I can only work with the guys who are here. And as a coach, that's what I do. And I can't control those guys who are not here. So, and I tell the players all the time, control what you can control, and then those other things, not to worry about them. So I can't worry about it, and I'm going to worry about the guys who are here and try to get these guys better.
Does Charlie still have a leg up on Derek Anderson?
Sure. Yes, he does.
And that is because of what?
Experience. He's played in more games. But that doesn't mean it's not a competition.
Charlie, last year when training camp began, you were the clear-cut starting quarterback. It's different this year. Talk about the difference.
I prepare the same way. I prepare to win. I try to put myself in the best situation to help this team. And, that's the way I prepared all break. The month and a half that we had off, I spent some time in Arizona with, working out with McNabb and his guys out there, just, out there in that heat. So, I think I'm in good shape. I'm ready to go. And, let's just, go out here and work our butts off and see what happens.
Today was pretty just a refresher for most guys. We've been here for 3 or 4 days, so. But to get out here, get the blood flow for some guys who just got off the plane and all that. But I'm just going to keep working every day.
If you look at the quarterback situation, Doug, Derek Anderson made about 4 starts last year, ended up hurting his shoulder at the end of the season. What does Derek have to do to stand out above Charlie Frye?
Well, I think he's got to show that he has grasped the offense and he knows how to distribute the football. The one thing he knows his limitations, and he doesn't have the mobility of a Charlie Frye. So he's got to get that ball out of there as quick as he can. And if you talk to the receivers last year, the one thing that they said when Derek Anderson was in there, when they got out of their break, that ball was on top of him. So he's got the strong arm that's going to benefit him.
Absolutely. Now, we look, Tony, at Charlie Frye. This really is the first time in his career where he's really has to fight for a job. He was handed it at Akron U basically in his freshman year. You don't want to say it was handed to him last year, but he really didn't have any competition. Right. What does he have to do at this point in time to beat out Derek?
He has got to get his mind straightened out, and because he's getting tugged from one arm by Derek Anderson and the other arm somewhere in the future is Brady Quinn, and it's almost like 2 against 1 if you're Charlie Frye. He thought it was his job. He didn't think he lost it, but guess what? There's a whole new offensive coaching staff here, and they don't care what happened the last 18 games. So I do think that Charlie has his back against the wall and has to outperform Derek Anderson clearly to win the job.
With 2 young quarterbacks like this, Doug, when you talk about reps and how many reps each guy will get, this decision is going to have to be made pretty soon if you want to be ready for September 9th, don't you think?
Yes, it is. And I think, you've got to get somebody working with the first unit. And although you know that Brady Quinn is your quarterback of the future, but you need somebody, you want to be respectable when you open up the season. So I think the thing is you've got to determine which one's going to be the guy.
They said that in San Diego about Phillip Rivers, but the future ended up being 2 years down the line. Yeah. So whoever wins this, I think their one-loss record is going to determine when the future is for Brady Quinn.
Kind of like a boxing match if we go off to the wins and losses. We look over at the PUP list. We kind of talked about it all week long. Kellen Winslow, we didn't know if he was going to be able to come out here. He had the microfracture surgery on his knee. He walks out the first day of camp. What does that mean to this team, Doug?
Well, it means 89 catches last year, and it means the go-to guy in the passing situations. The thing you'd like to see him is be able to practice every day. That's one thing to be able to play on game day, but if you don't practice every day, then you get in the game and there's situations that come up and you don't know what to do, then the ball might not be going to you, but you're going to screw up somebody else.
Now, Tony, we've been told that basically on Monday we look for Gary Baxter to come back out. That'll be extraordinary if Gary can make it out there and actually play with these guys. Is he in the running to be one of the cornerbacks for this team?
Well, I think that day when it comes will be a huge lift to Baxter, who's put in so much work and has been so much emotion into this comeback. I think the team, the staff believes that they're pretty definite that there will be a day when Baxter plays with the team. Now, it may be down the road during the season. It may not be immediately, but he's certainly ahead of where anyone projected him to be at this point.
And the thing about Gary Baxter, you got to remember, this is good for Gary Baxter because whether he ever plays football again or not, we don't know. But down the road, his quality of life is going to be a lot better if he gets himself, in shape to play and thinking he can play.
Absolutely. There's one more guy on that PUP list that we'll talk about when we get back because we're going to move on to the offensive line, something Doug Deacon may know about. LaCharles Bentley still not ready to go, still not ready to practice, but we'll talk about him and the new faces on this offensive line for the Cleveland Browns as you're watching Training Camp Daily here on Sports Time Ohio.